Let's talk about plants, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you have not been here before, my name is Maddie. This is my channel and these are my plants. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about moss poles. So basically I make my own moss poles, so I'm going to kind of show you how I make them and also talk to you guys about the benefits of using moss poles on your plants. So the reason that we provide some of our houseplants with moss poles is because in nature, certain species are natural epiphytes. So when I say epiphyte, I mean it is basically a plant that grows on the surface of another plant. So just for example, some species of monstera and some species of philodendron are naturally epiphytic. So what happens is in nature, they will use their aerial roots to attach themselves onto the surface of another plant. That way they can naturally climb towards the light. Because of that, the leaves will generally be a lot larger in size. So just for an example, this is my golden pothos, and you can see that the leaves on the very ends are small compared to the older leaves at the top. And you can see there on the stem, the little aerial roots, they are what will attach to the surface of another plant. And over time, when the leaves get really mature on this type of plant, they actually do have fenestrations. I'll insert a photo here so you can see one that is a lot more mature. You'll only really see that when you see them, you know, sort of climbing. So what they will do also is the aerial roots will actually take in extra moisture and nutrients. So that's why generally when you have a plant growing on a moss pole, the leaves tend to be a lot larger, and that is usually why. So another benefit of having moss poles is they save space. So you can see behind me, I have a lot of my plants on moss poles because I am pretty limited on space and light. So this is the area in my house that I get the most light. So generally all my plants live in here. So the only way that I can kind of fit them all in is if I have them growing on moss poles. So yeah, those are just some examples of benefits of using moss poles. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the material that I'm going to be using, and then I'm going to show you guys how to make your own. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and pick up some PVC pipe, or you can also use a wooden dowel if you like to as well, but I find that over time they sort of start to rot and get a bit yucky. So that's why I like to use the PVC pipe. I did actually see a hack the other day that someone did using dowel so that their dowel didn't rot in the soil. They actually went ahead and lit a candle and melted the wax onto the end of the dowel so that it kind of worked as a protectant. So that it didn't rot in the soil. So that's a tip if you want to use dowel. It's pretty much the same cost. It's not really any more expensive to use dowel than it is PVC pipe. This piece here cost me $2.30, I think. So it's pretty inexpensive. So also depending on the size of the plant, you might not use all of this. You might be able to, you know, cut it in half or quarters and be able to use that for multiple plants. So the next material that you want to pick up is some of this black plastic netting. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but I'll get the link for it on the Bunnings website just so you know what the product is called. So when you go in and you need to ask for it, you know what you're asking for. But anyway, you want to get a roll of that as well, and that's what's going to wrap around your moss. And you also want to grab yourself a bag of sphagnum moss. You can also use coco coir as well, but I find sphagnum moss isn't as messy. I mean, they're both pretty messy, but I don't know. It's up to you, it's personal preference, but I like to use sphagnum moss for my moss poles. So yeah, you want to grab yourself some of that. So you want to pick up some sort of like twine, or you can even use like these little black ties. I'm not sure what they're called, but yeah, we all know what they are. And that's what's going to be used to tie the black netting. Now that you guys know what materials that you're going to be needing, let's go ahead and I'm going to show you guys step by step how I make my moss poles. Okay, so I've got everything here laid out. I've gone and cut my PVC pipe in half, and I've also cut it on a slight angle on the end so it's a little bit easier to put into the soil. So the first thing you want to do is you want to lay out your black netting. So obviously this length is going to be a little too much. You want to compensate for how much is actually going to be sitting in the pot. So let's just assume this much is going to be sitting in the pot, so you want to cut about here. In terms of width, you're only going to want enough material to be able to, you know, sort of wrap around the pole once. So this is probably going to be a good amount of material, keeping in mind that we also have to put moss in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut about here. So now that we've cut that out, you just want to go ahead and start laying the moss down. You just want to spread it out a little bit, just so it's going to be able to wrap completely around your PVC pipe. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to place your PVC pipe onto the moss, and then basically you want to just start rolling that up. So this is where your twine or your string or whatever material you've grabbed comes in handy. You tie it however you feel necessary. I'm just going to tie it like this, just going through the netting and then through another piece here and just tying it off. Then you go ahead and do that on the bottom, the middle and the top. You can add extra for extra support if you like, but I find I only need to do the top, the bottom and the middle. So yeah, it's as simple as that. All you have to do is, you know, keep the sphagnum moss moist just by misting it every now and again. But other than that, that's it. That's pretty much how to make a moss pole. So now that I've made that one, I'm going to grab my micans and I'm going to give it a new moss pole. So this is my philodendron micans here, and you can see that the moss pole that it has is on a piece of dowel. I think the height of this one is going to be a lot better too, because it's starting to outgrow the pole that it's on currently. So I'm just going to take this one out. So you can see there, that's sort of the downside of using dowel, is that it does eventually sort of rot away. So that's kind of why I want to change to PVC piping. So that's a little bit too long. I'm going to have to cut that a little bit shorter. So I'll go do that now. All right, so I just cut that a little bit shorter. So hopefully that should sit in there much better. Awesome. Okay, so then what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to tie your plant to the pole. All right, so there we go. My Micans has a new moss pole, and I think that looks aesthetically much better. And I think it's going to be much happier now. All right, so there we go. Done. That is how you make a moss pole, and pretty simple, honestly. So yeah, that is how I make my moss poles. It's pretty easy, pretty inexpensive, and your plants will love you for it. So if you have any natural climbers in your collection, feel free to go ahead and use this video as inspiration to go ahead and make your own moss poles. So as plant parents, we want to keep our plants happy. So, you know, recreating what they have, you know, in the wild, it's going to make them so much happier. And you will definitely see significant changes in your plant as well. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to let me know by giving this video a like. If you don't want to miss out on any videos that I bring out in the future, don't forget to go over to my YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out. And if you have any questions, anything at all, leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.